I hear something. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you. Welcome back. And it is the last show of the year, but believe me, it is special. So today's guest is a New York fighter in the Hall of Fame in championship. He has written a book for kids,
Yep.
Mr.
Yes.
Story. You catch it at Barnes and Nobles and Amazon. And most recent, he has gotten together with the boxing community to form a nonprofit for youth, House of Champions. Please check it out, which is dedicated to offering youth programming that will create a positive impact on young people's lives. Please welcome the champ, Monte Barrett. Hey.
Yeah. Two guns. Monty, two guns. What up?
Thank you for having me here. I mean, it's really humble, and I really appreciate it.
We appreciate you, especially
Yes,
all
sir.
the stuff that you do.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
Word.
you're nice in the ring, and I watched some of your fights, and I was like, wow. But when I get super impressed is when a human being takes that and brings it to another level for other human beings. And the work you're doing with kids, man, my heart
For
is
real.
Yeah, I'm very
touched.
grateful.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful because we 18 years of boxing, and for me to be here in this space and not just surviving but thriving is a great thing. God has a calling and anointing on my life, and I'm more intentional about giving back. Before, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing it because that's my spirit. That's who I am.
Right.
But now I'm being intentional about serving my community and helping out the best way I can.
Well, we
Definitely.
appreciate you. Well, so Rich, you don't mind if I ask first, what led you to even liking boxing? Like, I was 8, I was 10, whatever.
I was 22.
Oh, really?
Yes, I was a grown man fighting kids. They're playing PlayStation. I'm like, I'm gonna kick his butt.
But I know you started at 25, but I mean, I thought like the first
I
time.
turned forward 25. I started boxing at 22. So
Okay.
I was a natural because I was in the streets. I was a street kid. I came from South Jamaica, Queens. Living in the projects, that whole thing.
Yes.
I had a unorthodox style of growing up, but now it's about the redemption. We passed all the trauma. We're working on redemption. That's where I'm going. So my redemption is me getting through everything that I went through. From when I was 16, I was in a major car accident. I was in a coma for a month and a half. My ear, I had 150 stitches in my ear. I had punctured lungs. I have a hole in my chest. I had dislocated shoulder, neck, 4 broken ribs. I was out. My cousin was driving drunk, and he hit a drunken driver. Nothing happened to neither one of them, but I was out. I was out cold. I woke up a month and a half later, like 60 pounds lighter. But for the most part, now I'm in a space where I am learning how to take all the experience that I had that wasn't positive and turn it into something even bigger and better than myself.
Well, this is the thing. So just being in that coma and coming back from that alone already set the precedence for a champ, in my opinion, to come back after that. So you already had something, as they say, I always say, God was already watching over you. Come back from that. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. I didn't even remember that part of the story. But that alone is amazing. I know you have a lot of your past that I think translate to helping the kids today in a big way. Can you share with us how you got led to not just the boxing, but then later to helping other youth and saying, wait a minute, and having that moment where you're like, wait, I can turn all this pain into something good for somebody else.
Okay, so basically, when I was younger, I used to dream and do a lot of dreaming and saying one day I was going to be rich and famous, and I was going to help kids, and I wanted to have a platform because my mother, what she did, she gave me the best gift that anybody could give their child. Every summer, from the age of 5 or 6 until I was 16, a few years I didn't go, but every summer I went down south to Greenville, North Carolina, and spent the summer with my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a blessing because, you know, in New York, everything is so fast. The pace is fast. Your friends, and during the summer, is a bad time for kids because nobody's there to regulate you.
Right.
So every summer from the age of 5 or 6 until 16, when I stopped going, or 17, one of my friends got hit by a car. One of my friends got his eye shot out with a BB gun. One of my friends got bit by a dog. One of my friends got arrested. One got shot. One got stabbed. I could have been that statistic. I could have been that one.
Wow.
So, her sending me to my grandparents, when in the South, you got to be courteous. You got to be respectful. You got to go to church. My grandparents kept me in like a boys and girls club. And I got a chance to grow up not too fast, but enjoy life as a kid.
Right. Wow. That's
what led to what I want to do now, because I always had the space where I was like, that changed my life. Because like I said, being in that space of support with my grandparents in the Boys and Girls Club that I was involved in. So I was like, I wanted, and I always had that feeling like, now I've always been a giver. I was involved in a movement with the coalition, and I got over 4,000 people jobs in my neighborhood. Like I said, I wasn't being intentional. I was making money because I was working, but I did a good thing. Now I'm being intentional about setting it straight and working and helping these kids, with support, with direction, with obedience, with discipline, with sports, with education.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Rich, you had a question?
Yeah, I wanted to say, Monty, like, you're one of the boxers. You, Zab Judah, Riddick Bowe, because Riddick Bowe has done some charity work too. But you're one of the boxers that, outside of Ali and that generation, that proves that boxers are more than just people, more than just guys that get in the ring and throw punches. There's so much more to boxers, and there's a reason why people love boxers, because boxers, I remember Jim Lampley said, life is a fight, and boxers are a metaphor of that fight. And so what I see you doing, because I know a lot of your history, me and you corresponded a lot. And when I was a boxer, you was somebody that I watched. So I know a lot of your history, the trauma that you've been through. Like, how does it feel being a public figure who is an example of fighting past the odds and coming out of the hood and doing great things?
I get this question from a lot of my friends in my old neighborhoods and people that I just run across. And they say, how do you feel about this? And I said, how am I supposed to feel? This is my life. This is what God gave me. And I don't know anything else. This is my feeling, But I understand the question is a rhetorical question, because they're looking from the outside, right? I'm a spiritual being. I didn't have that connection when I was younger because I didn't know. But now, as I got older, 2014 when I retired, I was introduced to Christ in 2000, and you learn things as you go. But in 2014 or 13 when I retired, I said I'm gonna be intentional about building a relationship with God. I'm not gonna say it's easy because it ain't nothing easy, especially as a Christian, But at the same time, it's a process. And the same thing, like my life is a process, and everything that I've been through has got me prepared for everything I'm about to go through.
That's the thing. That's the part. Everything I went through is preparing me for what I'm going through, about to go through. And I believe that with your we call it, your nonprofit, because I always say training camp. So, but I guess it's a little bit of that. But your nonprofit, your past experience is phenomenal, because it does help, because kids come in, especially if they're in inner cities, and if they're in any kind of neighborhood, but specifically you're able to wean out the kids who are really suffering with trauma, abuse, whatever else they're not telling people. That boxing and the things that you train them there for, the mindset, the spiritual, the whole parts of it, not just, we're gonna fight. No, that's not it. It's not about that. It's everything. How are we treating ourselves? How are we mentally, spiritually? Those gifts are so crucial for young people because they don't often know how to process. And so if they have one thing, whether that's basketball, a place to go to every day, to vent and to talk to people that they trust, believe it or not, that can actually save or change a life.
Well, our community have a generational curse as far as the way we deal with situations, right? And a lot of us, with the era I grew up in, you had to learn how to fight to hold your own. Now, kids don't fight because we don't have a community like we used to have, so they shoot and they kill, right? But when you have a boxing, which is a man's sport, and you have that much confidence within yourself that you can defend yourself at any given time, you are like a lethal weapon. You could hurt somebody. The majority of the time, you back away from situations because you're like, oh, I know what I could do, right? And that's the confidence that like I built alongside in boxing. I was already confident before boxing, but boxing took me to that next level. Guys would come up to me just playing, like busting my chops, like, yo, man, I think I can knock you out. And I said, yeah, you probably could if you get a lot of money and a good promoter. We could find out, right? Because I like, come on, like, you know, maybe they might been looking for some trouble or whatever, but I got that much confidence in myself. I'm not going to be like, what? You think you could knock me out? Like, no, I'm gonna make it a humorous thing, and we're gonna laugh about it and keep it moving. And you know, and that comes with obedience. That comes with discipline, right? That comes with structure. And the more so of boxing for me is support. Because sometimes as kids and as young adults, we don't have the support that we need to get and get the guidance to go in the right direction. And just like when I had the car accident and when I turned 18, I got some money from the settlement, and people were like, you do this, do that, do this. And a bum on the street had told me, he gave me the best advice, right? But as a kid, I'm looking at him like, you a bum, you got a bottle in your hand. And that's what I'm saying, like, you can never judge people because everybody has their own story. Some people know how to tell a story, as myself, and some people don't want to tell a story, and some people can't materialize a story into words. Like, I'm blessed and I'm highly favored. I'm one of God's favorite. And I know what just my life is. I'm a living testimony of the goodness and mercy of God. And I want to be able to, in my nonprofit, I want to be able to share that with the kids that I'm going to come in contact with, because you never know. I might be talking to the next Barack Obama, the next Jesse Jackson, the next Raymond Jacobs. You know, you don't know who is there, right? And that's where my heart is. My heart is helping. I've always been a giver. I've been a helper.
Right. And I see that because, you know, and I do want to get back to that advice that the homeless man gave you, but I also wanted to say that I'm glad that the kids are getting a chance to see you, because, you know, me working, Tanya and I were colleagues in the field of human services, and I know that a lot of people call the young kids wannabe gangsters, and you know, they're trying to prove something. But the reality is, when I talk to these children and I counsel these children, I find that a lot of them have been abused, hurt. And so when there's no adult there to give them a hug and tell them that they see greatness in them, it's easy for them to pick up a gun. It's easy for a gangbanger to consume them and suck them into that world, because they're not getting love in the world that they were born into. Seeing somebody like a Monte Barrett, who comes from the hood and who grew up in New York when New York was really dangerous. It was pre-Giuliani. You know what I'm saying? So that time that you grew up in New York, that's when I was there. You know what I'm saying? That's what I remember. And so when I used to see you and Zab, that made me say, I want to work towards that. So I started boxing and stuff like that. But seeing a Monte Barrett is what people need to see more. Like, you know, what I mean is, they always put gangster rappers on TV, but you don't put the Monte Barretts out there.
But you know, everything has its timing. Like, Zab's father was a mentor to me, right? And that's how I became like a big brother to him and his brothers. Me and Zab, we ain't talking right now. We're going through the brother argument, you know, but we're figuring it out like we always do. But
excuse me, do either of you know Jay?
Jay who?
I don't know.
I know. Like I got like 10 J's in my phone.
There's
So
a guy here named Jaye. I don't know who he is.
Jay, Big J. Yeah, that's my guy. That's
he wants to come on. He wants to come on for a second.
That's one of my guys from Columbia, South Carolina. Right. Yeah, that's my guy.
Hey Jay, we had to make sure we had to give the official security.
Yeah, I know like 10 J's. I said, did she say Jay? She spelled your name. I said, oh, that's my guy. That's Jay.
Yo, what's good, fam?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, Monty. Hi, Jay.
Hey, how are you? I'm good.
Yeah, so I was saying, so Zab's father was like a mentor to me. And then he was like, you know, him and I, when my first Golden Glove fight, Zab was fighting. He was only 15 and 16 at that time. And his father was like, yo, I want to talk to you, you know, so we talked like a week later. And his father was like, I know who you are in the street. I know how you move. And I respect you. And I respected him big time. So he was like, yo, I want you to keep an eye on my boys for me. And then, you know, Zab and Danielle, and Zab and Danielle, I think Josiah here and there, start spending the night in my house. And Zab was scared of the dog. He came knocking on the door. Can I sleep in the bed with you and your wife? Because I'm scared of the dog. He was scared of the dog, but you know, that's a whole nother story. But you know, then so that's how him and I gained. You know, I hung out with all the brothers. I became their big brother.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. I like the relationship you two have. I was watching some footage and I was like, I mean, how many people in your field like you get to hang out with, you do things, break bread with, and help people with? Like, that's amazing.
Well,
no competition at all.
We won the Golden Gloves together, and he got the fighter of the Golden Gloves, and I got the fighter of the year in New York. And then we won a couple of tournaments together, but then we fought on the same card. When he fought Corey Spinks the second time, I fought Owen Beck for the #1 spot for the WBA, the IBF, WBO, and WBC was #2. And but me and Zab bonded because the first time he rode on the plane, he was scared, and he asked me, "Can you hold my hand?" Because he said.
He's gonna get you. I'll tell you that.
He said, "I never flew before." So he said, "Can you hold my?" He said, "Can you hold my hand?" I said, "Sure, I can hold your hand." And I just, I patted him on the back. I said, "It's gonna be okay."
He's gonna get you after the show.
Yeah, I know. It's all love. I love him. He's my brother. Like I said, we good. We get over what we're dealing with.
What happened to VJ?
My wife just threw she threw something at me. She threw a million. I was like, "Stop it!"
Warning.
But you know what? I want to get back to that advice that
yes, that the homeless man gave you.
That the homeless man gave you, because you said he gave you the best advice.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And I didn't listen.
Would you mind telling us what he told you?
He just told me. He said, "Listen." He said, it was something about annuity funds, and it was something about the market was just changing, because this was in 1989. He was like, and he was watching the market, and he said, "I think you should invest in this, that, and the other. Put a couple dollars away here and there." But I had everybody in my pockets and my family like, "I need this, I need that." So I was like, okay, you always want to make the family happy. But he gave me the best advice. His name was Charlie. And he
was Charlie?
Yep. Charlie the Chaser.
Wow. Wow. I wonder whatever happened to him. Wow.
Well, he was my aunt. He had rented a room in my aunt's house. Really? So I but him and he used to always talk to me, because I used to live in my aunt's house when I was younger as well. Okay. So that's how I knew him. But he pulled me over to the side one day, and he was like, "Monty," he said, "I know you about to go through some money, but I want you to tell you, man, get involved with the market, and it's a lot going on." This is 1989. If I listened, I would probably been a billionaire by now.
Listen, if we all would have listened in the 80s to them stock tips, we would have. Because even when I modeled, I should have listened to someone, a big investor, and I was like, I ain't doing that.
But you think about it, right?
Now I'm broke.
I was judging him. I knew Charlie. He always been a drunk, and that's fine, right? But everybody has a past, and everybody passes and bad. So within his life, he knew something because he always read the paper, and he was always at the corner store, always looking, reading the paper, talking to people, stuff like that. And, like I said, I was like, he was in his 50s to 60s at the time. So, he knew way more than I knew. I was 18 years old.
Well, also one thing I learned, and Rich, you can verify this one, as an addiction specialist, one thing I learned, and working with the homeless, all kinds of population, you name it, is that you never ever judge a book by its cover, because as soon as you do, that book change. You'd be like, and then, or you read a lesson that you didn't expect. One of the two.
So, Yeah, I learned that from you're right, Tanya. I learned that from the field we were in together, but I also learned that from the Bible. Many of the prophets didn't dress immaculate. Even the Bible says Jesus didn't dress like immaculate and all of that, but he still had a purpose, and that's why that's why, Monte, I wanted to bring you on the show. We wanted to bring you on the show because purpose is something that I see in you. And that I see you driven. And I wanted to ask you, like, when the hood first saw you and Zab on TV, on HBO fighting, how did the hood respond to y'all?
Well, first, so in, I think, 1996, I did a New York Undercover with Shannon Briggs. Remember Shannon?
I remember that.
Right, so we did New York Undercover. I just turned pro in 96. In 95, I got a lot of support from the hood. Zab is from Brooklyn. I'm from Queens, but Zab and I, we spent a lot of time together. And I think he had moved. At that time, he moved to Queens when he first turned pro. He was living in somewhere, I think, in Rosedale. But what happened was everybody embraced us. Only thing, the bad thing, it's an oxymoron. The bad thing is everybody want everything for free. Everybody want free tickets. Right. The good thing is that you got those people out there that's going to come and support you, and they're so happy for you. It's like it's a win-win for everybody. Right. Just to know somebody from their hood made it out. Right. You know what I'm saying? Regards, and they treat you with love. So it's like so it's a double-edged sword.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
So sorry to bother you again, but we have a Warren.
Warren, that's my guy from the BX.
Now, Warren, I don't know if you really want to be on. I'm going to bring you on here, but
Warren, he's like one of my. Me and Warren go way back. Big
Warren
country.
Look like he can fight too. Dang.
Warren be lifting weights and all that. He used to be a puny guy when I met him, man.
Wow.
So he was sick like this. And to be honest with you, I think. When me and Warren met, I was living in Parkchester. I just got out of college. I was going to Westchester.
Yeah, man.
And we was in Parkchester, and he seen me knock out the first guy. When he was at we was going to this gym in Parkchester, and this guy named Tony came up. He was like, I want you to learn how to box. And I was like, man, I was a street fighter. I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna learn how to knock out somebody faster. And he put me in with some big guy, some brolic guy, and I knocked him out in the gym. It wasn't even a real ring. We just had mats.
The mat.
Well, which knockout?
It was crazy, and he was like, "I think you got something. I think you need to pursue it." So, I met my trainer who introduced me to boxing. His name was Abraham Davis. They called him Pops. He died in 2017. He was 102 years old.
Wow.
14. Yes. Wow. The pictures and the people I met, but he outlived everybody. Wow. He outlived all his friends and his family.
What was he, Italian?
No, he was black.
Oh, word. One or two, they live forever.
He's from North Virginia. Yeah, he was a good guy, man.
Black.
He showed me a lot of love, and he was a father, a friend, a brother, an uncle. He was everything that I needed for that particular moment.
How'd you meet Warren? He said.
I met Warren in a BX. I don't even remember how I met Warren, but Warren became like my brother. We hung out a lot. Warren, I met you in Parkchester, but how did we meet, Warren?
Yeah,
Do
20
you
knockouts
remember?
later. You saw one of the 20 knockouts, but how did you meet?
How did y'all meet, Warren?
How did we meet?
Can you hear us, Warren?
You did,
Yeah.
Warren? I said, how did we meet?
At the gym? He said I think he said at the gym.
Yeah, because you could tell. You see, he work out all the time. He's buff.
Yeah.
Right. So, like I said, it was a guy named Todd we met there, and started boxing. And next thing you know, I got involved with Abraham Pops, and he introduced me to Jimmy Glenn, who passed away, and he introduced me to Jimmy O'Farrell from Star City Boxing Club. And life just changed from there. I started boxing in Brooklyn. I made that my hometown, and I was beating everybody up in the gym. I'm on all my amateur tournaments, from the Golden Glove to the Nationals, and life has changed. I mean, guys was giving me, Don King and Lenny Shaw and.
Tell me that story about the Don King story. I read something about the $5 and he put out all that money, and you feel like, I got money.
Oh, yeah, right. He said, Don had invited a couple of fighters to one of his birthday parties, and he had this big house in Boca Raton with the water, and then and he shows us all this. Don got so much money and everything, and he was like, something happened to the point where he was like, he got all the money. And I pulled out my pocket. I said, you got all the money. I got $5 in my pocket. But Don was he was a good guy. Listen, at the end of the day, he's an icon. I get it. He don't have the best rap because what he does for a living. Boxing, he's bigger than boxing in his sight, and rightfully so. But at the same time, everybody that I had quarrels with in boxing, I'm still friends with them to this day, because I do understand the business of it, right? It's not nothing I could take personal, because at the same time, they're doing it to everybody. It's not like they say, okay, we're going to point out Monte and we're going to take his money. You're taking everybody's money.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I like about you. I notice in all your interviews, you're always, it's not just humble. What's the word? You notice that you don't get disgruntled or throw shade because people are being shady. You just say, well, that's what they do. It's okay. I like that. I like that. Most people don't do that. They say, yeah, they wanted to rip me off, or So,
but listen, I've learned, the biggest thing I've learned in the Bible is pray for your enemies. Once I learned how to start praying for the people that hurt me, everything is easy. You know what I'm saying? Yes. I have a very I had a very unbalanced life, a very hurtful life, a lot of trauma. Yes. And I get it, like, because people only forgive you what they have.
That's right.
And sometimes we pass what people have to get. So I just take it like this. I am blessed, right? My ends, my outs, my comings, my goings, I'm blessed. I don't have nothing at all. I'm 52 years old with a 6-pack. No, I ain't got a 6-pack. I'm lying. I got a 4-pack.
A 4-pack?
I got a 4-pack.
Don't worry, I got a 3.5-pack.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm just happy to have a pack.
I ain't even gonna tell y'all about my airplane luggage.
Life ain't that serious, right? Life ain't that serious. It's lessons,
right? But
now and it's lessons and it's losses. I took a lot of L's when I was younger. Now I'm turning those L's from losses to lessons.
Yes.
I'm 52 years old.
You said you how old, Monte? 52.
That's crazy. I can't believe.
No, I was saying you said you how old? 52. Wow.
52. Yeah, 52. And I felt see, look,
That's what I call taking care of yourself.
Look at me. I still got my hairline. I'm just happy about that.
That's what I'm saying.
My guys, they was losing their hair in their 20s. I just had dreads and grays. I went through this whole 50, this midlife crisis, right? And I'm good,
Yes, God is good. God is good.
I'm blessed, So, my whole energy is I want to be able to be here for the next generation. I want to build them. I want to support them. We have a building that we purchased in St. George. We're making it a gym. The senator gave us 6 figures to start working on building the gym. So we're working on getting the gym built up and starting workshop programs for the community and for the kids.
Right? Where is St. George?
St. George, South Carolina is right next to Somerville and St. Charleston.
Okay,
It's
so it's down south.
Okay.
Is there anything in New York?
it's in South Carolina.
Yeah, but I'm saying, is there anything in New York to link or the kids come?
Well, right now I live in Boston and I live in
Okay.
South Carolina. So what I'm doing in Boston, I'm about to start the same thing I'm doing here, which is workshops.
Good.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm connected with a nonprofit out there, and they put me together with some people and some organizations with young boys who need help. So
Good.
I'm starting workshops in Boston, and we're gonna have the main focus right now. The next 5-year plan for me is to get 3 gyms in this area. So I want to do St. George's first, Orangeburg, and somewhere in Somerville, but like a little town next to Somerville, because they got Amazon just came up here, Volvo, BMW.
Okay.
They're building this whole area up.
Well, wherever your location is it accessible to kids who, really need it, like inner city kids? Because I would think there'll be something in Queens, especially like this, Sutton Boulevard area, because there's a lot of stuff going on out there. My cousin Prince Mapp is working with a lot of young people out there, which I'm very proud of him for that. But that's certain areas, anywhere, Carolinas, New York, wherever you go, there's little pockets of places that really could use the help. So you're just taking it one place at a time.
Yeah, well, the good thing about here is I have a lot of visibility out here because of who I am and what I've done. And like I said, what I've done is great, and that I'm still here, still thriving in my space. Now, what I'm about to do, I'm about to change the game when it comes to amateur boxing and these kids and how they perform, and how they not just how they perform, but how they feel about themselves, and how they learn how to be young men coming up and taking care of their family, because everybody's not going to go to college. I understand that. In the building that we purchased, we are looking at getting studios. Like, we're going to have classes there, but we're also going to have podcast rooms. So we're looking to get music studios, so we can have like a music studio, so kids can do alternatives. Our people, we are very creative and committed. Once we find a drive, we're going to go for it.
Yes.
And this is not just for, and even though it's driven for our community, this is also open for everyone.
Right.
But my focal point is us, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where it all started, and that's where I am.
Right. Well, this is amazing. Tell me about your saying. What is it? You said something, your quote, boxing is not just the fight in the ring. It is the fight of life, mind, body, and spirit, the total connection to oneself.
Exactly.
Love that. I love
it's
that.
a holistic approach, right? Because boxing, and probably that's probably why I did so good in such a short time. It's you got to learn how to make certain decisions on the go, and when somebody throwing punches at you, you gotta you gotta bob, you gotta weave, you gotta duck, you gotta slip, and this is what I have. I have a curriculum that I'm developing to put for after school program in South Carolina called BAD. Balance, angles, and defense. Believe all dreams. Right. Right. So, this is and this is for the after school that I'm working with the after school program directors right now. And this is what I hope to have in the next 2 years.
Okay. Nice. What about your book, Mr. Story? Please tell us about that.
Mr. Story is about a kid who loved helping people, but he lost his identity in helping everybody else, and nobody ever helped him.
Wow.
Nobody never helped Story tell his story, but he always helped. So what happened was I do speaking engagements. I did one at Fort Jackson in front of 500 soldiers, and we talked about visualization, about visualizing the victory, visualizing getting across the finish line. And then I did a speaking engagement in Colombia at the Small Business Administration, and I did a poem. I write poetry, right? And a lot of people was like, "Yo, can I? Would you mind if I shared that with my class?" It was like 3 teachers that was there, and then later on, my wife was like, "This is a really good poem. You should turn this into a children's book."
Nice.
So I did. Yeah. And that's how.
Yeah, because that's powerful that you said that, because in life, like sometimes we get so caught up in helping everybody else. I know, like when you said that, I know me and you talked about Mr. Story, you know, but I didn't realize the depth of that concept, of that character, because when you just gave it that aspect, when you just talked about that part, it made me think of myself, you know, being in ministry, being in a church, being a counselor. Sometimes I empty myself out so much that, you know, sometimes it feels like that. Like I like my story doesn't really get acknowledged. And then, you know, and my wife says that to me. She said, you know, sometimes you get in your spaces because you're not acknowledging your story, you know. And me and Tanya have talked about that just in a different way too. But that Mr. Story concept is powerful. And,
but you know what? It's so crazy. You said that because when I first came to Colombia and I bought a home out here, and I got a call from the mayor, and he was like, his name is Steve Benjamin. He's a great guy, and he was like, "Yo, you know, he said, you know, you're a big fish in a little pond, and I know you humble, but tell people who you are because they'll never know, right?" And then I got hired to do this thing, and then see, it was like, this is the poem. There is a kid named Story who grew up hearing so many stories about himself that he didn't know which one to believe, the bad stories or the good stories. But Story had his own story, but he was always so afraid to tell it, and found his energy believing all the stories he heard, which were mostly negative stories. And he went through life not building his own story to one day tell about himself and about how strong he was and what he overcame and what he accomplished and what he persevered through. He was very resilient, and he helped everyone in their story, but never had support with helping him build his own story, even the closest people to him. And a lot of the stories he heard about himself were just that, stories. His story became so distorted and confused about what was true or false and his value that he gravitated to the negative ones. And his story was cut short because of all the stories he started to believe about himself. And most of our stories haven't even started. And the ones that did, the best is yet to come. The moral of the story for you, me, and Story is to grab the wheel of your own story and learn how to create your story, live your story, and tell your own story. And most of all, love your story. Then you take the power away from people about all the stories they tell about you, and you're in all the stories because you were able to tell your own story with your actions, and that story is victorious in the story.
I like that. I like that. I like it. Wow. That's
yeah.
And that's
very
I know I'm gonna get my free copy.
yeah, I definitely get your copy.
We said we would support.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
So this is amazing. That book can be found at Barnes and Nobles and Amazon, correct?
And Walmart, Target, and Books a Million.
Okay.
That's correct. Yeah, Books a Million.
Nice. Okay, so good. So yeah, guys, go out and pick up that book if you can, and share it with the kid too. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, sometimes if we got the message, we need to pass it on to somebody else. And sometimes you're a vehicle to pass it to somebody else. So that's why we say share for that very reason, because you never know. But that's amazing. So what out of all the things that you learned in boxing, what is the one thing that you hope one of your young people at the nonprofit will get the most?
Through boxing is so many, but if I had to go one thing, it would be there's no I in team. So, this world was built, us as a community, we need a team. Anything that's going to be successful in life, you need a team. A Fortune 500 company, you need a team. You need good people to become your best. Support is the enablement of growth, and you can only go as far as your support system, right? So, I would implement teamwork makes the dream work. So if if that's what resonates with me when I think about what boxing has done for me, the good, the bad, and different. You know, I didn't get that far. When I won, we all won. But when I lost, we all lost. But we did as a team, collectively.
Right.
So I would think that
And
would,
when
you know, go ahead. What you was about to say, Rich?
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Oh no. So I was gonna say just the team.
Oh no, I was gonna ask you.
Go ahead. I think he froze.
There's a delay with
computers.
That's what's going on. No, but I was just gonna ask you, Monty. I was just gonna ask you, with all the fighting that you did, right? What did it feel like when you first got that HBO fight? When you was told, listen, you got this HBO fight coming up, and you knew that day was coming. Like, what went through your mind? Is that when your change started mentally and spiritually and emotionally? Because I know that's a big event, and I know I saw it. I saw you when you fought. But what went through your mind? And there's a reason why I'm asking that. I'll tell you.
Okay, so I felt like it was supposed to happen, but I had a great advocate who's on my side, Hal Letterman. So he used to come to my fights when I used to fight in the barns in Yonkers Raceway, and he was like, that money got some hell of a punch, And my trainer Hal named me Two Guns, and Hal Letterman made it famous because he said, I fought somebody. He said, that money, he shot that guy down like he had 2 guns, and boom, 2 guns stuff, right? But so. So I felt like when he was coming, he said, man, I'm going to tell HBO about you. We got this young up and coming heavyweight, and he said, I love you, and my daughter loves watching you. I think Julie, she was a referee at the judge at the time, So Hal Letterman blessed me, and that's the team, right? Wow. I don't even know the guy, but he became a big fan, and he was true. I invite him to my birthday party. I mean, everybody came out. I mean, the guy you meet so many beautiful people in the sport of boxing, gems, like people who are just like, just genuine people, right? Yes. And, and people and fighters, we can relate to each other because we all come from the same space, the majority of us. That's and boxing is just like life. It's a fight. It is a fight. When we get up in the morning as Black men, we don't know if we're going to make it home.
Yeah, definitely.
I know we just moving about, and I'm thinking I'll drink from a cup half full, not half empty. I feel like, okay, I'm gonna do whatever, but at the same time, all our days are numbered, but through the God's grace, we make it home because we are attacked as soon as we wake up in the morning by our thoughts. You ain't gonna do this. You ain't gonna be that. You got to do this. You got to do that. If you're doing it wrong, you got to fight through that. That's why I pray every morning. That's why I meditate. That's why I read my scriptures. Not because I'm better than anyone, because I need it. Right. Me, out of all people, I need God every day, all day.
Yes.
Throughout my phone, every hour, scriptures are popping in my phone just to remind me who I am.
I like that. I like that.
Remind me where I am and where I'm going and what I should be doing.
Whew, that's powerful. I mean, I think we all need I call it a text alert for reminder about keeping our spiritual self always on point, because with all the stuff going on in the world, and then top that off with our past, you don't never know when something's going to pop up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm over 50, and new things are popping up, and I'm like, oh, but because I'm spiritually grounded, really nothing can really shake me, because I know who I am, and I have God first in my life. You know what I'm saying? That whole concept is first for me over anything. And so I get what you're saying. It's very crucial.
And listen, we're not perfect, and nobody's never going to be perfect, right? But we have to be intentional, and we have to serve a purpose, right? Like my word for today is, if you can see, it's at, let me see.
Other way. Yeah, right there.
26
Today's.
How many?
It says to where it's today 2,600. Wait, 2,690.
Yeah, 20. So I got a lot of notes. That's my journal. So daily, I've been doing this for 10 years. I don't do it every day, but I do it the majority of the year.
Right.
You know, like I'm at 303 days or 4 days for this year. Meaning I missed some days, but you know, I'm learning to, you know, if I don't stand for something, I'm gonna fall for anything. And I still got a lot of work to do.
Right. Right.
I still have a lot of work on myself to do.
Oh, we always do. It's a work in progress. Always.
But the good thing is, like, I can admit, like, listen, I know, like, you know, I know because as Christians out of all religion, right, we get attacked the most because, you know, we're not as traditional as everyone else, right? But at the same time, that's why I'm not holier than thou. I'm searching, I'm seeking, I want to be found. I want to do better. You know, when you know better, you do better. And that's where I am in my life, right? So, you know, judge, you know, I try not to judge people. It's hard though.
But we're human. That's true. At least you're keeping it real.
Hard, but you know, we're human. But you know, before you judge me, at least walk a mile in my shoe.
Right. Right. And I think that's just a human factor, Monte, to be honest with you. I don't think there's a human being on this earth that will be telling the truth, that they said that if 10 people walk in the room, that they don't have a thought already made up. Even if it ain't true, I'm sure that we all start, okay, this means that. It's just human. But to work on it and be in control of it, now that's another element. And that takes work.
Yeah.
And that's the part.
And you know what? I think you're right, Tanya. And that's the thing that I agree with you, Monty, because the Bible challenges us to allow God to develop our character, to do what Tanya is saying, to control our thoughts, to control our judgments, to control our desires for revenge or to be mad at a person. Because one of the things I'm learning as I get older is that forgiveness is for myself and everybody else. Because when I lost two of my family members in the street, you know, they were killed. One of them, I just made it to speak to him again. I just made it. And right before he got killed, you know, we had a good family moment with each other. And so when I listen to you, I'm like, yeah, you know, Monty is correct. That Christian walk is real because it challenges you to allow God to develop your character to a higher level. Because it's easy to hate somebody. Love. You know, Smokey Robinson had a song called Fork in the Road. And one of the best lines he said, it seems like love should be easier to bear, but it's such a heavy load. And when I look at all the people that love me, that love all of us, and the people that we love, that we try to be there for, love is hard because you have to care. When people stop caring, it's for relief. Like I don't want to care. So I commend you on your journey, Monty, because you did not have it easy. You know, you grew up in Queens, New York at a time where people was getting killed, and you still giving.
I was going to say, and the thing is, I love some people near and dear to me, but I love them from afar, right? Because I understand my weakness. I understand that they're my kryptonite, and I understand that me giving them a piece of me that that I can't afford to lose again, right? Because like I told you, I'm not taking no more L's, right? Just lessons, right? Like I go back and I go to this verse, one of my favorite scriptures in Psalms. I got a few of them. There's so many of them, but Psalm 71, 20 and 21, when David said, he made me suffer a lot, but he'll bring me back from this deep pit and give me new life and take my sorrows away and make me truly great again. That is amazing. The redemption in that, right?
Yeah, of course.
Right? Because, you know, we try to step and do things our own way. And, you know, and we think that's what God wants, but we know in our back of our mind, this is not of God.
No.
Right? And we do it, and then we get all filled with anxiety and stress and just buried down on burden. But he will bring you back from this deep pit, and he will give you a new life.
He will.
And take your sorrow away. That is amazing.
It is to me too.
Jesus.
I mean,
That's
I'm
right.
a preacher's kid. I'm a preacher's kid, and I'm a survivor of abuse. So that piece is a testimony for me too, because that's what got me through. People say, "How did you get through that?" If you have God in your life, and if you're spiritual in your life, you can get through anything. There's nothing you can't. If you're still breathing, you can get through anything, literally. So I'm so thankful to God that is a thing, and that I don't have to rely on anyone but Him. That's it.
And I tell my wife all the time, like my life is like, I don't like to take life serious. I understand the most important thing I always tell her, I'm not in control of anything but me. I can't control anything else around me.
Nope.
God gave me a spirit of discernment.
Yeah.
I use that the best way I can. Sometimes I could use it, sometimes I don't, but I need to use it more. But what I'm trying to say is I have accepted that I have no control over anything else around me but Monte. How I respond, how I react.
Right.
Everything else is on guard.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and that's a good message for young men too. You being a fighter, Monty, and you being, a survivor of hard times. When people see somebody as tough as you, talk about self-control as a man, I think that's what young males need to hear more of, especially young black males. But I remember when I made it to fight in Madison Square Garden, you were one of the people that I thought about, and I was wishing I could have contacted you then, because my brother Chud, shout out to Chud, he was going through a lot of stuff in the streets, and I wanted you to be able to talk to him because there's a lot of similarities with you and him.
Wow, thank you. I appreciate that. It's, I mean, and you wouldn't believe it's a lot of similarities with me and a lot of men. Like I have a friend who lives in Charlotte, and he's from New York, from South Jamaica, Queens. He grew up under me. He was younger than me, and just knowing that he went through a thing with the Sean Bell, but the Sean Bell. Remember when the Sean Bell got killed? Right.
By the police.
And we all deal with our we still got trauma. Some of us know how to let it go. Like me, I'm at a space in my life, like I make humor about my trauma, and I think it affects the people around me who didn't deal with their own trauma. Right. So this is my way of dealing with my trauma. It's so like, if I'm going to talk about it, I can joke about it because I make humor out of it. Like I'm lighthearted. Like, okay, listen, I'll say XYZ and I'll start laughing, and then people get uncomfortable because then I do understand that, because it affects it. It's something that I hit a nerve.
Yes, and they're not comfortable with their trauma.
Right, and they haven't dealt with.
Right.
And like I said, when my trauma came to me, I didn't realize that a lot of women and people that I dealt with in my life, I didn't love. I was trauma bonding with them.
Right.
I didn't know what trauma bonding was until I got in my 50s, right? But that's what it was. I was trauma bonding because we all deal with trauma differently.
Yes.
And we all connect because, our community is laced with trauma.
Yes, it is.
It's like,
well, we have generational trauma from just from slavery alone, just that. And then add all the stuff that comes with being the great grandparents being enslaved, and the mentality they had to have. Like, for instance, boy, if you don't do this right, I'm gonna beat you, because if they didn't beat you, you might be found in a tree somewhere. You see? So that's a trauma. Just all those little micro things are just that, plus what you're going through now.
And what I want to say, Sha, I know my mother's watching, and me and my mother, we had an up and down relationship, but I love my mother. My mother's my first love, right? And she knows I love her. So if she's watching, I love you, Mom. And I had to take in consideration, because my mother think that I hold things against her. I have to take in consideration that my mother, she went through a lot of trauma in her life. And she did the best she could with me. For me, I feel like it probably could have been a better, but I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm here for a reason.
Exactly.
And I got through it. So God had a special angel looking over me. So even like with my kids, I got 7 kids, and I got a stepson. I got Tiana, Ashanti, Shad, Brandon, Michaela, Zoe, and Gabrielle. And then Amani is my stepson. And I love all of them, but I look at my kids. I have introduced them to trauma, through separations and through situations. And I got to be accountable for that. And I'm working on that now, how I can close a gap and have a better, healthier relationship with my kids today.
Right.
Everybody's different. Women, y'all got around 20 personalities. So
no, I only have 15.
Oh,
don't make your wife throw something else at you now.
She just threw something else at me.
Honey, where's Donald Duck?
She threw the Mickey Mouse again.
Next time it's gonna be the Mr. T doll.
No, you're right, but one thing you said.
Long as she ain't shooting nothing at me, I'm good.
But Monty, one thing you said. And shout out to your mom, because here's the thing that we must never forget. Thank you, Mom, for birthing such a beautiful human being that is giving back the best way he knows how. That's
thank you.
What we say.
Thank you for birthing Monty.
Because guess what? If you wasn't birthed, we wouldn't know none of this.
Right. I was gonna say the same thing. Thank your mother for
birthing.
So
I say thank you, Mom.
Monty. Yes, for birthing Monty and the way he's giving back to the universe. God bless you.
I love my moms, and everything is working out. Everything's about timing, right? It's not on my time; it's on God's time.
Absolutely. And it's all a lesson, all of it.
Yeah, and that's why.
Yeah, no more losses, just lessons. We in the 50s now. We in the second half of our life. We gotta be like, listen, we're not taking no more losses.
No losses.
Only lessons.
Right, lessons, right. So as long as those L's are lessons, I'll take them. And that's why I shared that with you, Monty, because the guy I grew up with, he's the one who helped me learn boxing. Chud, he was like a brother to me, you know what I'm saying? And that's why, like, I still may connect him with you because, he has his struggles, but I think hearing from somebody like you could really help because, like I said,
what I say, teamwork, right? And I in team.
Yep.
So that's the most important.
Yes.
Yep.
So I know, I can't believe time is gone already. And you're always welcome here anytime y'all doing something with your nonprofit, please let us know. But the last piece of advice you can give a young person watching now, seeing such a great as yourself out here, still trying to make a difference in another arena. What advice would you give to them right now?
At that age, at a young age, I would say don't be so hard on yourself. Allow yourself to make mistakes,
right?
And get up and learn how to dust yourself off and say, okay, I'm gonna try at it again, and I'm gonna do have a different approach. So just don't be hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't hold on to it. Let it go. And Jimmy Glenn told me this. It was so powerful when he told me I was about to fight. Owen Beck. He said, "Son, you sitting up here stressing. Life is more than just one day." I said, Jimmy Glenn is a legend in boxing, but it just hit me when he said, "Life is more than just one day." I was putting everything into that one moment of that sparring and that training, and I was stressing. And he said, "Son, life is more than just one day." He didn't say nothing else. And I'm saying, what about tomorrow? And what about next week? And I'm like, why am I stressing over this one day? Right. I got another day to get it right. I just started training camp for 8 or 9 weeks. I was in there for.
Wow.
And, but I was stressing that day. And he was like, and when he said that, it just hit me.
That is so powerful. Like, it needs to be on a shirt because someone told me once, and this is weird that this one statement triggered my brain to think differently. They said, as far as trauma, they were like, so growing up, how many bad things happened to you and how many good things happened to you? And I was like, one very bad thing and millions of good things. So he was like, okay, focus on that. I was like, well, dang. But when I thought about it, I was like, he's right. I took that one thing, blew it up, even though it should be, it's rightfully so. It wasn't like just random, like I pricked my finger. It was abuse. You know what I'm saying? So it was rightfully so. But had I known at a young age, like, okay, so let's get through this, let's work on ourselves and go to the next step instead of focusing on that and just re-traumatizing myself over and over and over again. I didn't think of it. I was like, but you have like great neighbors, great people, great things happen to you. You have your parents are great. I mean, there's other things. I didn't realize that. So that statement is very much in line with that. Like focus on, you got
and
other
you know when I'll tell you a little something, right? When I got on, I was intentional about not talking about my trauma, but talking about more about my redemption. You know why? Because people need to hear about the redemption part, right? Because we all go through trauma, but there's a finish line, and the finish line is called redemption. And when you cross the finish line, everything that you went through is going to be worth it. And you're going to be able, and you're going to get closer to God. And like when you said to me, what I'll be able to tell people, see, it's different levels. I can't tell a kid, 10 years old or 16 years old, I could preach to them and live by example, but I can't really pull God into them like that, right? But I can be an example of God's love, right? And of the word. But as you get older, then you start changing. Like I knew Christ. I didn't know God for myself until I was like 2020, until 2000, however old I was, right? So what I'm trying to say to you is that, when I was younger, I went to church here and there, but I didn't know I had a calling over my life. I didn't know I was anointed. I used to always hear strangers to say, "Oh, that's one of God's favorite. He's anointed," and I'm like, "Who's that stranger?" You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know. But as I got older, people still tell me that. And everywhere I go, I stand out. And it's a gift. It's a curse, but I use it as a gift. The reason I said, because just the way God is blessing you, the enemy is right on his tail trying to disturb and take that away from you.
All the time.
Right? He did it to Jesus.
All the time. Well, thank you so much, Monte, for all these beautiful lessons that you're giving us. And if anybody's out there watching and young people, check out his website, House of Champions. If you can donate because it's a great cause. I know we all know a kid that's in distress somehow. Stuff like this is what we need, stuff in the community. And I know that some people don't really want that, but this is someone that's putting their money where their mouth is. You know what I'm saying? You got to support that. If you're really sincere about wanting to help young people, then you want to support organizations like this, because that's how you help young people, by giving them options. That's the only way. You can't say, "Oh yeah, you should, you could." What? Nobody cares about that. I need an option. What is my option? And this is an option. There's many options coming up. So please, if you can, and I don't usually do all that, pandering for everybody, but this, I believe in this cause. houseofchampions.com. Go and donate whatever you can. $5.
Houses with an S.
Houses. Excuse me. Houses of Champions. I got
Go to that website. Check it out. Check out Mr. Story too.
Yes, Houses of Champions. I spelled it right. I just didn't say it right. So my bad. I apologize. But please go and donate. And if you can, pick up the book, Mr. Story. You can catch it on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. I mean, it's everywhere. Just Google it. It's there. I Googled it to make sure so you can find it. Hit me up if you're not sure. Go check out their Facebook page, Instagram page. Show some love. You know what I'm saying? This is what we got to do as a community. Is stop talking the talk and walk the walk. So if you're about helping young people, let's see. Go make a donation. It could be $5, no matter what it is. What if $5,000, same things, took the same work to get it. So do something for these young people, because they hurt right now in all areas and all colors, by the way.
But I'm glad you said that, Tanya, because we got to help those who are doing the work. So many times, like you said, Tanya, people in the community complain, or why nobody doing this? Especially they love complaining about black men. But here you have a black man, Monte Barrett, who's going out his way to give back. Give that brother some support. Donate to his cause. Support him. Support the people who got boots on the ground. We don't do nothing sometimes but criticize these people, or we see them doing the work and we just leave it to them. No, support Monte Barrett's cause. He is helping the next generation of kids. Support, donate. Support that brother.
Yes, because I'm so tired of people, and that's cool. Everybody got their thing they like, but you're gonna go buy all these rap albums that talking about killing each other and spend mad money on that. Spend mad money on sneakers that you're gonna wear probably maybe 2 months.
Lingerie.
you know, all this crazy, all this crazy stuff. And I'm not saying you don't deserve that because you can spend your money on what you want, but I'm just saying, like, as a society, we're never going to get better if we don't put our money where our mouth is. We're never going to get better.
I'm gonna tell you one quick story. This everybody's favorite story of mine in boxing. Then so what happened was I was out of boxing for 3 years, and I met Stan Hoffman. He gave me $50,000 on a handshake deal, and then my career became better than it was the first career of boxing. And I had to fight Eric Kirkland on ESPN main event, and I'll tell you in a minute. So I fought him. I went to New Mexico. We fought on ESPN New Mexico, and Eric Kirkland was talking so much junk. He was a Brooklyn fighter. He was talking about how he was going to knock me out, how he was going to do this, that, and other. And he was just about to sign with Joe Messi. The fight Joe Messi. That's how I got the fight with Joe Messi.
Maybe Joe Messi.
So I was off for 3 years. So the first punch he hit me, he had hit me so hard, he split my whole mouth open inside and out. It was hanging out, and I was like, I am not built for this. I'm out. I was looking for a way to lay down. I mean, he beat me from pole to pole, and I was just I wanted to make it look good. Right. You know, I hit a good shot. We get to round 12, and he beat me up so bad. I said, man, let me just knock this guy out. And I knocked him out. And I got the fight. But I was looking for a way. I had in my head, I had already rehearsed how I was going to fall and roll over and make this whole theatrical act about me getting knocked out. He kept beating me from pole to pole, and every punch he hit me would hurt so bad.
Oh man,
he was like 7 years or 8 years younger than me, and this guy had heavy hands. But God seen fit something else because I didn't quit. I knocked him out, and then I got the Joe Messi fight, which I won the fight, but I lost it. But HBO loved the fight so much they gave me another show, and I fought Dominic Gwynn. He was the best, the next great heavyweight since Riddick Bowe, and I annihilated him in his hometown, and boom, life changed from there. And I went from being not even on the radar to rank number 3 in the world to being number 1 in the world.
Wow! See, look at God. That's all God. That is amazing. Wow. And never give up. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, never give up, even when it hurts.
Yeah, even when it hurts. I know. I was thinking about that. What's your worst injury you ever got before we go?
I had to get stitches inside and outside to hold my. It was so deep because and I don't know with the mouthpiece. And when you don't get hit for a long time, your body doesn't do well to the punches. Even though it's sparring in boxing, but when you in there with those little gloves and they pounding on you, it hurts real bad.
Man!
But then you get conscious. If you get older, you get conscious. When you're younger, you feel like I can get through anything.
Right.
But when you get in your 30s, you start meeting kryptonite.
Right. Well, thank you. Know what? You got to write a book about that part.
Oh yeah. The kryptonite.
What boxing has done to me now at 50.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, but I could never. I mess around, but no. I would miss it at all.
I can't. I don't like it. That's another thing, and we're really gonna go after this. That I liked about you when the guy said, "What was it? Your last fight?" And he said, "So we can't convince you to stay around." He was like, "No, I'm retiring." I was like, "This guy is smart."
Yeah, my bad.
I done knocked out 20 times already. That's enough for you to know. And I done did how many fights? 40. I think it was 40 fights. I forgot how the stats.
I had 48 fights, 50 fights. I lost count, but it was a lot.
Yeah,
but I have a daughter. My daughter's about to be born. I was like, I want to be able to have a conversation with her and talk to her and raise her. I don't want to be, hey, how you doing, baby?
You're a comedian too, I see. Oh my God.
You sound like Sylvester Stallone just now.
Oh, McDonald had fun. Hey, you know? I just wanted to have a regular.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So we better get you out here before your wife starts throwing more Mickey Mouses at you. I'm telling you, thank you for the time she let you. We have you.
Tell them to say hi. Come say hi.
Yeah, say hi.
And listen, she hate when I talk about her, but she is a Harvard graduate.
Yes.
All right.
I saw that.
She got the Harvard Hero Award.
Ooh.
She's a deputy at MIT.
Ooh, and beautiful. Look at this. Oh,
She has
Look at the Black Queen.
Harvard.
Mrs.
It's called Tracy Jones. Cordell Stewart won. Cornell West won the award.
Oh, Cornell.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Yeah, right.
Hey, Black Queen. Look at the Black Queen.
wow, look at you. You are so beautiful. God bless you, sis. God bless you.
So let me ask you this question. You the one that tamed Monty?
Oh, you see him throwing Mickey Mouses at him. He's not tame.
Right.
It's hard to tame. It's hard to tame an animal who's not caged.
Right.
If I was caged, maybe she could tame me, but I'm not caged.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, that's beautiful, man. But God bless y'all.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And thank you for the Mickey Mouse moment.
Right.
We needed that. We need humor in our lives at all times. That's what I say. Nothing's too serious.
Sure.
But you did well, Monty. You did well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. So we thank you so much.
Power.
I mean, we can't even tell you how much. We really thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're busy, and for the work you do with the kids, man. I can't from my heart to yours. Thank you very much. You and your wife for doing big
God
things.
bless you, brother.
In the boxing community. I mean, just brilliant. I hope you get billions of dollars.
Yes, sir. Everything for these kids. Yep. I appreciate you guys.
God bless you.
I'm humble. Thank you.
Yes. So, guys, yes. Any last requests before we head out? Emma, what you say?
I said, won't he do it?
Yeah.
I talk about God.
All the time.
Oh, yeah. Won't he do it? That's the famous, yeah.
All the
but I'm
time.
gonna connect with you when we get off camera, Monty. I'm gonna follow up with you.
Yeah. So hold on one second. Don't leave yet, Monty. We're just gonna end the show. And so you guys out there, thank you so much for watching us again. And this is our last show of the year, but very important show. So share, because somebody might be inspired. That's why we don't care about ratings. Remember, we only care about sharing because it's caring. So let's do that. And don't go get the book if you can. Check out the website. Do what you can. Donate if you can. Please do. It's the end of the year. You know, nonprofits, they be writing that off of the taxes at the end of the year. I'm just saying. This is the time for you to dump that money. Dump that money over there. But I appreciate you guys. Seriously, my viewers, you guys are the bomb. I got to meet one of you today. Joe, thank you very much for lunch today. I appreciate you. God bless you. And Emma, I see you. I see Lena, Letha. I see all you out there. Thank you. And to your fans, thank you for coming on and checking us out. We appreciate you. And don't forget, please, we'll be back for the new year starting after January. For the week after, we'll be back with a new show. So hang out, Monty. 1 second. Bye, guys.